Welcome to the TCM Teach podcast, the podcast designed exclusively for acupuncturists and herbalists who want to grow sustainable, patient-centered practices without chasing every social media trend. So yes, what are we going to talk about today? Well, let me start off by who I am. I'm Matthew Soppy Smith. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, professor, coach, entrepreneur. Yeah, I wear a few different hats, but the whole point is, I have an LAC next to my name. So that's why it might matter to you. One of the most powerful tools for building a thriving practice is also one of the most overlooked. And it seems really old school. It's actually just your email list. In this episode, we're going to dive into why your email list actually could be your number one asset and how it connects patients to your work and how it allows you to communicate consistently without being at the mercy of algorithms if you're trying to chase social media trends, for example. As fun as it may be to do all these little TikTok dances, they don't always look good from a practitioner standpoint. And yes, I have seen many of my students try this to get attention on social media, and it can get kind of cringy. So if you're trying to look professional, I would ask some questions about trends. So really, that's why we're actually going to do this episode on email. So ultimately, if you're ever frustrated with social media, worried about inconsistent patient flow, or wondered how to build a direct line of communication to the people who need your care, this episode is for you. So we're going to get started right after my quick little disclaimer. Just please remember that I am simply a practitioner here to help you on your journey. The information shared in this podcast is intended for educational and learning purposes only. So for guidance specific to your business, please consult with the appropriate licensed professionals where applicable. Thank you. So why does an email list actually matter? Well, your email list is direct access to your patients, and it's not a platform that you're renting. So platforms that you're renting could be things like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even YouTube, X, you name it. There's probably some other ones that I'm just not naming, which I know. I can't cover all of them, but you're getting the idea. The point is you want direct access, and you don't want it for rent. So there are actually examples of people having a huge following on a social media platform, and then that platform could disappear overnight. Why does that matter? Well, if you spend all your time building up a following on a platform and you don't have a way to directly access your followers if that platform ever shut down, then you lose all your followers. You lose your clout in that area. So what do you do then? If you're ever familiar with the platform that was really gaining a lot of popularity and was really, it was growing a lot, it was Vine. And there were people that had really large followings on Vine, and then it just disappeared, and they lost all of those people. So this is why you'll end up seeing a lot of marketing on social media, or little tidbits, like you'll see even from my podcast. You'll see me put out TikToks or something, or maybe one Instagram post, but it's really, hey, come to my email list or come to my Patreon. And I might do an actual episode on Patreon too, because if someone signs up even as a free member on Patreon, then you actually get their email as well. So I might add that in. We'll see. The point is, you're trying to get direct access to your patients. It's not something that you are renting. You own your email list. And to this day, it's still one of the only things that you truly own and have direct access to people. You could also grab things like phone numbers, addresses, etc., etc. So I'm really sticking to email today because it's old school and people are like still using it. People still use email. It is old school, but they still use it. And you own your list. Some of the benefits that are included with email are you control the communication. There are no algorithm changes that you have to worry about. You nurture patients consistently over time, or prospective patients, people that are interested in the information you're putting out, even if it's just a monthly newsletter. You're nurturing that relationship, whether it's current patients or whether it's people who may come to your clinic, whether they met you somewhere. Oh, just sign up for my email list and you can check out what I'm talking about. Hey, I'm doing a newsletter on how to eat during the fall this year. You should just join it. And then you have those people. And if they unsubscribe, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. They just weren't going to be your patient. The point is, you want to educate, inspire, and convert without pressure. You don't want to create pressure for anybody. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows that, hey, here's my free content. And then if you want to go further, I have things like the Practitioner Hub or the Pocket Practitioner on memberships that I run on Patreon. Those are ways that I can nurture this relationship further. But if you're just happy with the podcast, great. No harm done. Enjoy the podcast. The other thing with the email list is you build trust slowly and reliably. And the key here is just remember, it's something that you own. And it's not like social media followers who can come and go, and the platforms themselves can come and go. So please remember that. Okay, social media versus email. Social media that can equal discovery and visibility. It's free. Yes, you can pay for ads and such, and those can be highly effective as well. But we're not talking about that necessarily right now. And email is really where you're gaining somebody's trust and you're actually working on a relationship. Social media brings patients in the door, potentially. Email builds loyalty, reduces no-shows, and encourages repeat visits. I am still a big proponent of in-person marketing when it comes to a practice, but for things like products, or if you're really trying to build something online or a course or something, the online world can be a little more applicable. A local practice can be really good if you're targeting an ad or something in your local area. However, this is rare. It does happen, but if you're putting out a lot of content on social media, most patients are going to have to find you in the local area, because if they're on the other side of the world, yes, sometimes they will fly from the other side of the world, but it's not that common. It does happen, though. I've seen it happen with physical therapy, actually. Anyway, together, these two combined can create a balanced marketing ecosystem. So while social media can be an initial hook or attract somebody, perhaps you found me through social media, which is definitely possible. What got you here listening to this podcast? The key there is, while social media can attract people, emails can convert people, or it can at least maintain the relationship of saying, hey, I have a new course out. Oh, hey, I have a new product out. Oh, hey, I'm running a practice clinic special. Come on in for this price. Trying to fill these spots. I have these spots open tomorrow. First come, first serve. It's a direct line of access. Okay, so what kinds of things do you send in emails? Emails don't have to be long. They definitely don't have to be fancy. There's actually a trend to making them not fancy that is more popular. You want to focus on value and connection. So there are a few high-impact email type examples, like clinic updates and availability, patient education and tips. Could be seasonal, could be for certain types of conditions that you treat the most. You could do some myth busting or common misconceptions that people might hear about acupuncture or herbs or certain types of products. Insights into your philosophy of care. Invites to workshops, webinars, or events. The key here is every email should do the following. It should either educate, inspire, or guide to the next step. So you want to be able to nurture this properly where you're not constantly, hey, buy this thing, hey, buy this thing, hey, buy this thing. Well, guess what? Everyone's going to unsubscribe. They're like, I don't want to buy your thing. I'm not getting value from having you show up in my inbox all the time. I'm finding this annoying. Go away. Or something that's educating the patient, something that's inspiring the potential product buyer, and then giving them the opportunity to buy something. That could be 3 different emails. Show a personal story. Talk about your philosophy of care. What is their buy-in? What are they going to get out of it? And how do you convert them? The key here is you want to grow your list ethically. You can offer a free resource. So I do that on a lot of my social media channels. That could be a guide. It could be a checklist. It could be a mini course. You can ask website visitors to subscribe at the right moment. You could encourage patients in clinic to join. However, for me, when I have someone come in, their email is automatically in their paperwork, so I can contact them anyway. So, you could also think about a potential HIPAA email, but that could be just for clinic use. Those could be separate potentially from marketing uses. Check with your local laws. It might be a good thing to ask a lawyer about, but that's why you ask for professional advice, right? So you want to avoid buying lists or spamming. I hate spam, and I'm sure you do too. The people that just show up in your email like, hey, you didn't buy this thing. It's like, I never subscribed and I'm not even your target audience. Why would I want to hear anything about this? The list growth works best when it's opt-in and aligned with your values. So there's a few different platforms that you can use. I can't remember if I actually put these in my notes, but I'm going to mention them now in case I didn't. Things like MailChimp or Kit, those are the 2 that I have used pretty successfully, I think. So Kit used to be ConvertKit, now it's just Kit. There's a lot of really good backend things that you can do, and it can almost get kind of creepy to see what, like, if they don't click on this, then they go to this section. If they click on this, so you can set up a bunch of rules if you really want to get advanced with email. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm just talking about you have emails and you send the same email to every person. But email marketing, I'm saying, for companies, like larger companies, can get very advanced. So a lot of big companies buy data analytics to target their potential buyers or customers. Even if you look at a social media ad or you want to run an ad, you can get it down to what somebody makes in a year. So this is like a target, where they hang out, all the way down to what kind of handbag do they like to buy? What are their favorite brands? What time are they awake? Like, it gets crazy. So we're not talking about that, but I'm saying that data analysis can go to that depth even with email. So to zoom back out here, for the sake of simplicity, list growth works best when someone can opt in, when they have the option to opt in. Something I like about Kit, and I am not sponsored by them in any way, is it shows me when somebody opts in. So if someone downloads a free guide that I provided on TikTok, for example, they have to opt in and then they get the download. So that means I am allowed to show up in their inbox. And there's other parts of the world where it's actually illegal for somebody to not, somebody has to opt in. Otherwise, it's legal to email them. Europe is pretty strict about that. So just make sure you do it ethically. When you're buying a list or spamming, you have to ask yourself, are these potential patients of mine? Are these people I want to see? Might be a little easier with a product or a course sale or something of that nature, or you're doing a TED Talk or something. But when it comes to a clinic, then I would be really questioning what you're thinking if you're going to buy a list or think about spamming people. Wouldn't recommend it. And it also doesn't look professional. It doesn't look good for you either. Okay, next, frequency and rhythm. Consistency is going to beat volume that also burns out over time. So you can start small, 1, 2 emails a month. Keep a predictable rhythm, something that people could show up to and they know, hey, I'm probably going to get an email this month from Dr. So-and-so about how to eat this season. Or maybe I'll get a recipe in my inbox. You want to track opens and engagement to guide your content if you're an analytics person. So if you use something like MailChimp, if you use something like Kit, then they can show you, okay, out of the recipients, what percentage of people opened it. You can also go to list who opened it, and that can help guide your content. Also, if people unsubscribed, if you sent this one email where a bunch of people unsubscribed, then that would be a good reason to be like, oh, what did I do? Did I accidentally trigger somebody? Always, unless it's very specific to your marketing, I too have unfollowed people or unsubscribed from businesses when they are polarizing, particularly politically, or if they get religious or something. If I'm not there for that reason, then I don't really want to hear about it. Or, so here's the thing with polarizing in marketing, or they're going to get people to buy in more. However, if it's not applicable to the product, then you really want to tread lightly when it comes to things like politics or religion, especially when we're just trying to run a clinic to help as many people as we can, or a specific product, unless that is applicable to your target audience. So keep that in mind. Unless it's applicable to your target audience, you may want to avoid becoming polarizing in a particular area. This was very apparent during COVID. This is a really good example where I was watching a lot of I was analyzing a lot of marketing, and I was really curious. Okay, so you'll see, I saw a lot of influencers. I saw a lot of companies go completely to the right or completely to the left. And they were like, I am going to be polarizing and this is my stance. So then they got people to rally behind them. Some companies and influencers that helped. Some companies and influencers that hurt. My advice, make it specific to the product. And if it doesn't belong there, there are a million other things that you can talk about. So if you're trying to work on patients or you have an herbal formula, the herbal formula will help just about anyone. So you don't necessarily have to polarize someone's political stance for the herbal formula to help them. Versus if you are a influencer or you have a product where 90% of the buyers are part of the Liberal Party, for example, that may be enough buy-in for you to be polarizing if that is something that agrees with you. However, there are a million other topics you could talk about where you could also be polarizing. The bottom line is you're going to be polarizing in some way. Just make sure you're consistent and not following a trend. Okay, that's really important. If there's a stance you firmly believe in and you feel like people need to know you and your company in and out, and your stance is very specific to your company's stance, remember, these are separate entities here. So remember that sometimes it's regardless of what your personal stance is, what is the best thing for the company? That is the big question you want to ask. What is the best thing for the company? And is it going to help drive sales or is it going to reduce them? The last thing you want is to be polarizing and lose a bunch of clientele because you overstepped and shared your personal views, but maybe they weren't applicable to the company. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just be careful is all I'm trying to say. Tread lightly. You can batch content your emails. That can help reduce stress. You can set up rules ahead of time. Again, not sponsored by Kit. They have some really good courses in the background. They teach you how to do things. And I like that. When there is a company that can teach me how to do things. And a lot of EHR systems do this too. I remember like Unified Practice, and I believe Jane App, and I'm sure more since I knew about, I'm sure a lot more do that now, is what I'm trying to say. So your patients don't need daily updates. They just need reliable, relevant communication, a little bit of education, a little bit of inspiration, and a light tap. Hey, and if you'd like it, here it is. Here's where you buy it. You don't need a gatekeep. So this is actually something I've seen a lot in the art world and art marketing. There's a big argument, and musicians too, actually, and I can explain that because I think it's good to bring in other fields sometimes, especially ones I have experience in. So the art world, why do artists need galleries? What is the number one thing that an art gallery has that a singular artist might not? That is the email list, the buyers. An art gallery has to spend a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of marketing, and really believe and hone in on specific artists that they believe they can make a sale with their list. So the goal of an art gallery is to grow their list. Now, here's the key. You, as an artist, would be giving somewhere between 40 to 60%, I believe that's the right metric, 40 to 60%, to the gallery if your art sells through them and you do not get their email list if they drop you. The same thing happens in the music industry. In the music industry, a band or musician may have really great stuff. A record label finds them, or they expose themselves to a record label. It's not so much you get found these days. You kind of like have to put yourself out there. So the record label picks them up. The record label puts in all this money, puts in all this effort, uses all their connections, believing that they're going to make sales off of these musicians. So it's kind of a bargain, just like the art gallery industry. Okay, it's kind of a bargain. I'm going to expose this to my people. I'm going to drive a bunch of money behind these people so that I can get that percentage back. And then if the record label drops you, hopefully you've retained people along the way. Same thing with the art gallery. If the art gallery drops you, hopefully you've retained people along the way. So that is a lot different now in this current era of marketing, where a lot of artists create their own email lists. A lot of artists can be found through social media. A lot of musicians, same thing. The key is, how do they get people's emails? How do they get into shows where people watch them? So bringing it back full circle into Chinese medicine, you don't necessarily have to borrow someone's email list, but there are ways you can do that. And this is technically another topic, but if you hop on someone else's podcast, if you hop on someone else's blog, if you guest lecture at another institution or in someone else's convention, that can be a chance for you to grow your list or share someone else's audience in return, and maybe you can get some conversions that way. So that's really common too. So keep those things in mind, and we'll probably talk about those more in the future. So email marketing through a TCM lens. I like to throw this in when I can. Email is an extension of your clinical presence. Jing, we could think about accumulated knowledge that is shared carefully. We don't want to lose our Jing, but we want it to be potent where necessary. Qi, you want clarity in your messaging. We want clear Qi so that everything works properly. And Shen, the tone and intention behind your words. You want people to be able to see your Shen in your emails. You want it to be clear and you want it to be potent. So emails should feel like you. They should be grounded, they should be clear, and they should be genuinely helpful, especially applicable to whatever it is you are selling, whether it's clinic spots, whether it is a product, whether it is a course, etc., etc. So how an email list supports your business. It can pre-qualify patients or customers before they book or buy something. It reduces time spent explaining the same things repeatedly, or it can. It can increase retention and repeat visits. So a lot of people just go straight to social media for this. But again, you don't own social media. You own your email list. It can also enhance trust and patient satisfaction. Oh, I haven't gone to see Dr. Matt in a while. Oh, that was a really good email. I have been dealing with a lot of back pain. I should book with him. It could be someone booking when as much effort as you might put in, this is a little reality check for you. As much as effort as you might put into something, to be honest, people forget about you. Or they will. There's a lot of things going on in people's minds. Life is a thing. And even if you're day in, day out working on acupuncture, can't believe people aren't paying attention to you and all your social media, TikTok trend posts or whatever. Again, don't do that. You have to show up in people's face consistently. Because people do forget. They get sidetracked. They have more important things in their life. Maybe it's their family. Maybe it's their job. Maybe it's paying the bills, whatever it may be. But they have to be shown. They have to have something to respond to consistently. So if they unsubscribe from your email list just because you're putting out a lot of good stuff and it's just too many emails for them, it's okay. Let them go. They weren't going to come back. But there's also that many more people that have true buy-in. Okay. When we have it supporting our business, there's something I missed here. Oh yes, increases retention and repeat visits, enhances trust and patient satisfaction. I mentioned that. Your email list is a quiet, patient-centered marketing system that can grow with your practice. So if you grab their email in the paperwork, great. Now you can email them. I have practitioners do that to me all the time if I went to like the chiropractor or the dentist. I have people who email me who I haven't seen in like several years, but I liked them as people. So I'm like, all right, I'll stay on their list. And if I feel like I need to go back to that particular practitioner, well, I know how to contact them, or I know that their office address changed or whatever. So some closing thoughts here. Your email isn't just another marketing tool. It is the foundation of a resilient practice. When nurtured with intention, it allows you to communicate, educate, and build trust consistently over time. So if you want a step-by-step guide, you want to dive a little deeper for building, growing, and nurturing your email list as a practitioner, I do walk through this in the TCM Teach membership in the Practitioner Hub section on Patreon. So that includes things like templates, strategies, and I always have a downloadable PDF that goes with each episode. So keep that in mind if that can serve you. So in our next episode, we're going to dive into, the power of free consults to convert patients. So until then, thanks for listening to the TCM Teach podcast, and we'll see you next time.